Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, it's time for me to keep moving on, and I want to stop right now, except I'll say a very pleasant night to you, my Straight Talk family in St. Kitts and Nevis, and my Straight Talk family throughout the entire Caribbean region. And as a matter of fact, I say my Straight Talk family throughout the entire world. I want to go as far down south as Guyana on this South American mainland, coming up to Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, come all up to Martinique, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, across to St. Eustatius. How is Montserrat? I've been missing Montserrat now for a long time. Sorry, Montserrat, St. Eustatius, St. Bart's, and St. Martin. I want to also touch Anguilla. How is the BVI, Tola and Negada? How is St. John's? There's a special lady in St. Thomas up on the hill there. My good friend Betty, how are you tonight? And we go to the diaspora all over the world. We know we have, some of you are in Africa, some of you are in Asia, there's some of you in Europe, there are a whole lot of you all over North America. The Queen in Texas. How is New York? P in New York. How is Florida? How is Chicago? How is Boston? Georgia? I'm going to get in trouble if I don't say hello to that special lady in St. Louis. I'll see you soon. Yes, that special lady in St. Lucia, in St. Louis. But to all my Straight Talk family, I can say good night, I can say good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which now you find yourselves. How is Danny? How is Elsie? How is the leaders over there in the UK? How are my friends all over the world? And for the first timers, I welcome all of you. And I must inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum on which you can express yourselves freely. Let us in the process strive to get St. Kitts and Nevis back to that enviable position of being one of the freest countries in the world. I forewarn you, it's going to be a Himalayan task, especially with the leadership we have at this time. But on this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And I want to apologize that on my last episode, we did not get to come to our usual conclusion. And that's because the electricity mysteriously went out. I say mysteriously went out. Parts of the area in which I was living, or which I do live, they had electricity. Other parts had no electricity. But that's the past. And I want to assure you, my Straight Talk family, that nothing will stop me from being your untiring advocate of truthfulness. I will water down nothing. In no way, whether by omission or exaggeration, to make it interesting. That's not what this program is all about. I just consider it my duty to always present the unvarnished truth about governance in particular in my country. I always want to hail my young brigade, Tristan, Hope you reminded your mom that it's Thursday and it's another edition of Straight Talk. Shama, like my little son. Kevin Hanley, Shama there in Frigate Bay. Hope you are tuned in. How is school? Trust you went to school, back to school, and doing well. You must be doing well because you are a smart little young boy. And again, to my special lady in St. Louis, good night. My observations in review tonight, and that's the time for first timers, when we highlight, beg your pardon, the issues of the day. In the process, we do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions, such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next. Also, what new we have learned as a people. And I am going to focus on one observation tonight. Because a lot has been said about the construction of the Bastia High School and the location that was originally selected to build that high school. But in St. Kitts, politics normally overrides everything else. And sad to say, in this case, politics have overridden a well thought out decision to reconstruct the Bastia High School in Bastia, East Bastia to be exact. And that location was originally selected by 5 or 6 engineers, water engineers. Cabinet in its wisdom back then established what it was called a Water Experts Advisory Committee. It was not done on its own, meaning the cabinets did not do this on its own. And the Water Advisory Committee, as I said, comprised of 5 or 6 water engineers of different ilk. Geologists, environmental engineers, hydrogeologists, name them all, they were on that committee. And the committee comprised as follows, like I said.
In January 2016, Cabinet appointed a Water Experts Advisory Committee to provide further technical advice. And allow me to list the members of that Water Experts Advisory Committee. Dr. Hallisey Haley, who is a civil engineer, civil environmental engineer, and at that time was also a former manager water engineer of the water department, and she was the chair of that Water Experts Advisory Committee. Myself, and I am by training a hydrogeologist, and I was there also in my capacity as the Director of Public Works. I also happen to be a former manager water engineer. The third member was Mr. Denison Paul, who is an environmental engineer and was then the current manager water engineer. The fourth person was Mr. Anthony De Silva of Innotech. Innotech being the company that was engaged at that time to enter into negotiations with the government for the design and construction of the school. The fifth member was Mr. Sandy Nettles, who is a geologist, and he was and is the principal of a company called Ocean Earth Technology. And that company was engaged, I think it's around 2007 to 2009, when we were undertaking the project that was looking at an evaluation of the Bastia Valley aquifer. So he certainly is no stranger to the Bastia Valley aquifer. And the sixth person was Mr. Athel Rollins, who is a civil and environmental engineer, also a former manager water engineer for over 20 years. At the time was retired. Those were the 6 members. There was also Mr. Floyd Harris, who was also a former manager of the Nevis Water Department. So this committee had 4 former manager water engineers. We met and we deliberated on what are the potential impacts of these sites, especially the one at Ponds Estate, on the underlying groundwater resources. Our report was submitted to the cabinet.
So yes, 4 former water engineers, a hydrogeologist by training, a geologist, Cromwell Williams, beg your pardon, was the one making that presentation. And in fact, Cromwell Williams is the current manager and water engineer at the Water Services Department as we speak. And at that town hall meeting, Cromwell Williams had this to say, my Straight Dog family.
Our advice to the cabinet was that, given that the Ponds Estate site is at least 1,000 feet downstream of the closest well, which is designated well 148, and furthermore is in an area of the Bastia Valley which was never used for potable water extraction and is very unlikely to be used for potable water extraction, coupled with the use of modern wastewater technology, this site does not present a danger to the potable water supply.
And that's the current water engineer and manager of the Water Services Department, Cromwell Williams, who, as I said, is a trained hydrogeologist and perhaps the only one on the island as we speak. And my Straight Talk family, those are the facts. And I heard this former minister who called my name and mentioned my association with the Bastia Valley Aquifer project. And he is correct, because I was in fact the project manager. I think it was somewhere about in 2007 to 2009. So when I speak about the Bastia Valley Aquifer, apart from being born in the area, I know therefore that I speak from a point of authority, having worked with this UNDP project. It was funded by UNEP, the United Nations Environmental Protection Agency. And I can also state, without fear of contradiction, that this former minister, having listened to him, spoke from a point of ignorance. And I say so respectfully. But that's nothing unusual for this former minister when you hear him utter anything or most things. He is bombastic, he's aggressive, and sometimes you really have to listen carefully to what he says. He made mention of the NCEPA, which is the National Conservation and Environment Protection Act of 2009, cap 11.03. And that's an act to provide for the better management and development of the natural and historic resources of St. Christopher and Nevis for purposes of conservation, the establishment of national parks, historic and archaeological sites, and other protected areas of natural or cultural importance, including the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park, the establishment of a conservation commission, and to provide for related or incidental matters. And there's no way in NCPA that this minister can point to which stipulates that there can be no development in the protected area. He can find it nowhere in that act. On the Bastia Valley Aquifer, one of the expected outcomes was to declare the Bastia Valley Aquifer a national park and a protected area. And just for information, the aquifer spans from Olives Mountains in the west to Canada Hills in the northeast to Connery Hills in the east. It spans well over 5,000 acres of land. Now, Dr. C. Haley, and before I go to that point, the aquifer has what is called a well field, an aquifer well field. That's where you pump the potable water from. And that well field is situated east of the Kim Collins Highway, for those of us who know the Kim Collins Highway and that particular area. To the west of the Kim Collins Highway, there is no well field. Water is not drawn or taken from that particular area. But Dr. Saheli addressed the protected areas issue, which was raised by the former minister. And she addressed it quite adequately, I must say. She addressed that quite adequately when she said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the Bastia High School, once constructed, can be a symbol of environmental stewardship and sustainability, and it can be compatible with the area. This is what Dr. Saheli, a former manager and civil and environmental engineer and civil engineer, or civil and environmental engineer, I think it is, and she had this to say.
Had they wanted to put the Bastia High School, right on Kim Collins Highway, right where all of the wells are, or near to the wells, of course, we would have objected as experts. We would have objected to that. So here we have this corner piece of the protected area. And just because we've chosen to put a school here, it's a good opportunity. It's an opportunity for this school to become like a symbol of environmental stewardship, of sustainability. I think it can be compatible. It can be compatible with what is a protected area. If you look closely at the NCPA, which is the National Conservation and Environmental Protection Act, it doesn't state that you cannot develop at all protected areas. There are provisions for developing in protected areas. You just have to make sure that you're doing that according to certain guidelines and, just being careful about things.
So what the former minister is saying, there are provisions to develop in protected areas. But my Straight Talk family, in fact, there are concept designs for the park, which can be found in Volume 2 of the project report. There's a park management, development of the park management plan, and there's a water management plan in Volume 1. It is really sad to say, though, that because of politics, this Jew Labour administration is literally tossing millions of dollars down the drain that was already spent on drawings and designs, also on the environmental impact assessment study, which in fact was approved by the Development Control and Planning Board. So there's no reason, no logical reason can be advanced as to why the school should not have been constructed on that particular site. My Straight Talk family, I will expand on that in a subsequent program, but I will just make that my observation in review for tonight. I wanted to spend some time on that because all these people see is politics. And it's time we put aside our politics and start to look at policy and governance. I will hasten to embark upon my thesis, which I have titled tonight, Lord, help us to rescue our health and education systems. And that is really my fervent prayer, that the Lord will help us here in St. Kitts and Nevis to rescue our health and education systems. Now, health is of paramount importance in every aspect of our lives. It is the foundation for individual well-being, societal progress, and economic development. Education plays an important role in our country's development. It was Nelson Mandela who said, and I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world." Education is a staircase to the growth and development of humankind and shapes society into a better world. The history of health and education over the last decade, over the last 10 years, is a tale of two sectors, one vastly more dynamic and successful than the other. And according to the WHO, the World Health Organization, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis has made strides in health, having increasing life expectancy at birth, low maternal mortality ratio, and decline in mortality from communicable diseases. The population is aging, with those 65 years and over accounting for 7.5%. On the positive side, in St. Kitts and Nevis, like much of the world, we have made immense progress in eradicating diseases that cause death, deformities, and suffering like smallpox and polio. Advances in primary health care, including vaccinations, have reduced infant mortality in St. Kitts and Nevis and the region. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the average life expectancy for women, I still believe, is about 77 years, while the average life expectancy for men is 72 years. And we can remember a few years ago, my Street Dog family, we must remember this. For us here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and by extension the Caribbean, like the world over, the year 2020 was unprecedented. The COVID-19 pandemic, we must recall, decimated, killed, or destroyed the economy of the Caribbean, which is based to a very large extent on tourism. For many islands in the Caribbean, the coronavirus presented an impossible dilemma. Some islands closed to visitors to protect their citizens, but cut off or severed a key economic lifeline. Others remain open to tourism and risk exposing a populace to a pandemic that overwhelmed the capabilities of far richer countries. We here in St. Kitts and Nevis, like other countries in the Caribbean, went several months without tourism because of lockdowns and closure of our borders to international passengers, which derived a sustainable loss of income for those in the hospitality sector in particular. Some, it said, reopened too soon. Some countries witnessed the peril of reopening too soon. Many countries began opening their borders in 2020 after months of lockdown, and many required negative COVID-19 tests for visiting foreigners, like we did. But the quarantine periods varied from country to country. CARICOM heads of government took a major step towards resuscitating the COVID-19 challenged travel and tourism sectors. With their initial agreement to institute a travel bubble among Caribbean member states and associate members, which met the agreed criteria from Friday, 18 September 2020. CARICOM could, however, not agree to a common protocol for all the islands as part of the new normal created by COVID-19, and the bubble did not take long to burst. And perhaps it was a good thing, the bubble, which was aimed at preventing a disastrous GDP, thus spelling economic disaster. Perhaps it's a good thing it had in fact burst. While many predicted a COVID-induced recession, we here in St. Kitts Nevis were not only concerned about livelihood, we were more concerned, my straight dog family, about life.
On the 24th of March 2020, we were all in shock at the news of the first 2 imported cases of COVID-19 into our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. As the Prime Minister and leader of this country, for me it was a call to action, and I sought to calm the nation, knowing that we had done all the necessary preparedness for this eventuality. We kept science always at the core of every decision we made, and were not swayed by the detractors. Our strategy had as its main principle saving the lives of our people. It was a life-first strategy.
And we had good advisors, CMO Dr. Laws, and Medical Chief of Staff that time, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson. And our government remained firm in its view that at some point, the world and St. Kitts Nevis will return to normalcy. We never wavered in the execution of our COVID-19 protocols as we witnessed what was happening around us here in the Caribbean. We reopened our borders on the 31st of October 2020, I think it was, and obviously many additional cases were confirmed. We opened our borders back then.
As a federation, as a small island developing state, we have done well with respect to our COVID-19 response. Our approach to our borders and how we operate at our borders and how we monitor our borders have done us well in terms of reducing our risk of exposure to the virus. Now, talking about borders, our borders have been open since October the 31st, 2020. And so we have had different iterations of our entry protocols, and each iteration has been guided by data, science, and the latest information locally, regionally.
And yes, our borders were reopened on the 31st of October 2020. But some people tried to mislead the country, but this only brought their credibility or lack thereof into sharp focus. My straight talk family.
I think the Prime Minister have a credibility problem, because I heard the Prime Minister saying that when he got in, the country was shut down. But I know there was a full tourism season before, after COVID, before the change of government. Taxi drivers were already working, hotels were already open. So to say that the country was shut down when you get in is not true. It's far from the truth.
My straight talk family, no one can dispute the fact that we here in St. Kitts Nevis did exceptionally well in containing the spread of the coronavirus. No one can dispute the fact that the government had continued to fulfill its social responsibilities, to all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. After implementing the important step of making vaccines available to at least 20% of our population, then the next focus was stimulating full economic recovery. We've learned lessons. Our main lesson learned was people come first and the economy comes later. In the early days of the coronavirus-induced pandemic, governments around the world were struggling to choose between a shutdown to keep people safe or keeping the economy going. Each government realized, some sooner than others, or others later, that this was a false choice. To see people first or economy first as a dilemma is to be penny wise and pound foolish. For without a healthy population, there can be no healthy economy. The Team Unity government decided that resources had to be invested in overcoming the pandemic with the least number of casualties first, so that after the crisis, with sound fiscal measures in place, healthy people could make the economy buoyant. Yet it is said that a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. Today we save the people. Tomorrow the people can come together to save the economy. And that is the main lesson that we all should have learned from COVID-19. The Ministry of Health completed a number of major infrastructural projects in 2021 that ensured the provision of quality health care to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and strengthened the Federation's health systems. The hemodialysis unit celebrated its 10th anniversary just a few days ago. 10 years ago, in 2013, I was hosting this Straight Talk program 10 years ago when the late Valentine Linwald Thomas called into the program and had this to say. I remember this call from Valti.
Good note, Patches. I would like to let you know that I was made to understand that today is going to be the opening of the hemodialysis center at the Jane France Hospital. So that's great news, and I want to congratulate the Ministry of Health for putting that together and getting that dialysis center, the hemodialysis center, up and running, so that people there in the Federation who comes down with kidney failure will be able to get themselves started out, and those who are not able to go away into Antigua or Trinidad or Jamaica or Barbados or the United States or Canada will be able to get some kind of dialysis treatment there in the hemo formation. So congratulations to the Ministry of Health in bringing this center forward, and we will hope that it will go from good to better and better and better.
10 years ago, in September 2013, Balti has gone to the great beyond, but he offered those words of congratulations back then in 2013. The Team Unity Administration enhanced the unit by adding 5 brand new AK-98 dialysis machines. Recall that Dr. Ju lied to the country and said that he procured 15 new machines. Do we recall that?
I've also procured new dialysis machines because at the hospital we needed new dialysis machines. As you know, when we got there, we thought that there was not enough. As a medical doctor, I know that. And so we have procured. And so when they come in, I'll give the names and so forth of those who would have sourced them for us and so forth. The dialysis machines.
And my Straight Talk family, it was a big lie. And when he was caught red-handed, Dr. Ju backpedaled. My Straight Talk family.
So these machines were donated from a major hospital in Canada through one of our experts, one of our nationals who live there in the diaspora, Mr. Estridge, who is a technician, a specialized person in these. And so these machines were donated to us. These are very good old machines that were donated to us by the institution that have been passed. When we got these machines, it was in the winter. And because it was in the winter, you couldn't ship them because whatever substances they have in their structure, the cold would freeze it. And so we took the decision to store them in a warm storage area. That is why they didn't come earlier. And then once spring came and the temperature went back up, that is when we decided to ship them to St. Kitts and Nevis. So they're in very good stead. We have turned them on, and the vast majority of them are in condition.
Till this day, my Stray Dog family, the vast majority of those machines are not operational. It was later uncovered, though, that Dr. Drew accepted a donation of 15 20-year-old AK-96 machines that were recalled. So within a span of 3 months, Dr. Drew moved from purchasing 15 new dialysis machines to receiving 15 20-year-old machines for free. Lord help us to rescue our health system from Dr. Drew. We congratulate the Douglas Labour Administration for its foresight in 2013 and for delivering the hemodialysis unit. We also congratulate the Harris Team Unity Administration for enhancing the unit, which has meant a lot to so many patients, in particular this patient who is currently receiving treatment, which he started way back in 2018.
Since dialysis, I'm doing a lot better. Most of us are doing a lot better. When your kidneys stop functioning, your blood don't get clean. And once your blood don't get clean, you feel very sick. You're with nausea, vomit, and stuff like that. But once your blood starts just to get clean, you would feel a lot better.
It was good to see that courtesies were extended to Dr. Harris to attend the church service, the 10th anniversary church service at the Faith Tabernacle Church. And Harris attended that service, and would you believe who was there? And who he sat next to, my Straight Dog family. And ask yourselves, who looks like the Prime Minister? But my Straight Dog family, Dr. Drew is the second doctor, and he appointed himself, was the second doctor to be appointed as Minister of Health. And ironically, like the first doctor, Asim Walters, aka Asim Martin, who was Minister of Health, both are Cuban-trained doctors. But based on Asim's performance, I posited the view back then that medical doctors do not make good ministers of health. And since Drew took the office of Minister of Health, all he has done is to talk about building a smart hospital. Drew seemed to have forgotten the JNF France General Hospital. And all he speaks about is building this smart hospital.
We believe that a modern and fully equipped hospital with efficient trained staff is long overdue. We are seeking to construct a smart hospital. This is a necessity, not a choice.
And my Straight Dog family, the situation in health in St. Kitts is so bad. It is so dire at the Joseph N. France General Hospital that this doctor, who emanated from the bowels of the Labour Party, broke ranks with the medical fraternity and the Minister of Health, who is also the Prime Minister. This doctor is the wife of Ambassador Wilson, a former Labour candidate who was appointed ambassador to Venezuela, Norton Wilson. And this ambassador, my straight dog family, in a damning post, wrote this, which we exposed before, but it bears exposing again. In a damning post, this medical doctor wrote, Dr. Melissa Cable Wilson. And in the second paragraph, which is what we're going to focus on, she wrote, and I quote, "Patients are dying in droves at JNF. I am sick of referring patients and they are denied access because doctors are lazy or they have big egos, so they can't be spoken to. The patient always pays the price." So while a large number of patients are dying at the General Joseph and France General Hospital, my straight dog family, while a large number of patients are dying, according to this doctor, Straight Talk has confirmed that just a few days ago, a newborn baby and a middle-aged woman died under some mysterious circumstances, and this is currently being investigated by the newly appointed Medical Chief of Staff for Institutional-Based Services, Dr. David Wilkin. Dr. Wilkin commenced duties on August 28, 2023. But Straight Talk will keep you posted on this serious incident, to wit, where a newborn baby died. Also, a middle-aged woman died under some serious or mysterious circumstances relating to gynecology. But my Straight Talk family, the buck must stop with Dr. Terence Michael Drew, who ought to have general control and management of the Ministry of Health. But sad to note, the quality of care at the JNF General Hospital and across St. Kitts continues to deteriorate, and we can also ask the Lord to help us to rescue the health system. With respect to education, my Straight Dog family, with respect to education, on the other hand, education has moved to a different rhythm. Gains in the education sector over the 7 years of the Team Unity administration have been incrementally lost with the advent, or since the advent, of the Jew Labour administration. But what else can we expect when the leader in the Ministry of Education is a self-declared slow student, my Straight Dog family? What else can we expect from this slow student?
Look at me, comrades. I told you how I started off as a slow student. I went to 1A4, 2A4, 3G7, 4G6, 5th form, 5G6. And guess what? I repeated. So I was in school for quite a while. But look at me today. Bachelor's in psychology with a minor in social work. Masters of education. Another master's degree in political and organizational psychology. And I would have been in a program for quite a while, since 2005, I'm not ashamed. And in 2016, I was offered the opportunity of getting a PhD.
So miraculous, my street dog family, was the transformation of Jeffrey Hanley, that after such a dismal performance at his foundation level, that's the primary school, that continued or rather worsened at the secondary level, he now boasts about having more degrees than a thermometer. I think it was Michael Powell said that some time ago. That's not original. 2 bachelors, I think he said, 2 masters, and a PhD from a university that he never attended. And he must tell us about that PhD if he wants us to continue calling him Dr. Hanley. I don't, because he attended this university, or he never attended this university from which he got his PhD or was offered his PhD according to him. But notwithstanding such a record, he promised to deliver, in his words, the real deal in education. My straight dog family.
I will deliver the real deal in education.
He promised to deliver the real deal in education. Confused most times, it seems. If you listen to him, you would agree.
In our larger schools starting off, I must deliver the no written prep. I thought you was going to be clapping. Oh, that means I could take it back. Oh, because you don't write prep. Oh, okay, I got you.
Most times, he's confused. And all he has introduced for the new school year, and all he has focused on, is some new year policy being his main focus, my straight dog family. A new year policy, my straight dog family.
I had the opportunity on many occasions to interact with our students whenever I visited the school or had an engagement with them. Some would approach me first to ask me, when are you going to change, the hair policy, or when you're going to allow us to wear braids? And I would then engage and say, if that was to happen, what would your expectation be? And they gave you the idea of the length. None of them ever said to me, it should pass their shoulder. They always say it should be, shoulder length. No color. And they told you that I went as far as to ask, as a teacher now, what you think will happen or should happen if students try to violate the new policy? They say, well, if you don't want to give them another chance, you allow them to revert right back to what was there before. So that is one of the changes that we'll see coming in September.
But my street dog family, he also spoke to a 1 laptop per child program to be reintroduced in secondary schools. 8,000 to be distributed across St. Kitts. I cannot speak for Nevis. I don't know if this also involves Nevis, my straight dog family. But he said this.
All 8,000 devices are here, and we are putting the necessary network, or the most, if not all, I'll let the PS back me up, are in place. And why I said not all, because I know one aspect of it is to make sure that we have the proper connectivity, and that is a project that is ongoing in terms of the fiber optics, the cables that are being laid, and we're going to have them all laid at our high schools. So we are getting ready to start with the distribution.
But Jeffrey never said, my straight dog family, what is the assumption pursuant to this distribution? What is the assumption after distribution? Would there be an increase in reading, mathematics, and computer skills? Would school be more enjoyable for students? Are additional gains to be expected in improved enrollment and reduced repetition and dropout rates? These are pertinent questions to be asked, because a rigorous study was done by the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, which stated that these one-to-one or one laptop per child program had few of the intended effects. While bringing computers into schools increased computer literacy, it neither improved math and reading nor significantly contributed to keeping children in school and on a steady track towards graduation. I don't know if randomized controlled trials had been done before the program was launched. However, according to the study, students in Latin America and the Caribbean have lower scores on standardized learning tests compared to other countries at similar stages of economic development, and much lower than that of the best performing countries. So how does the use of technology in education help to increase student learning is another question. According to the IDB, between 2006 and 2012, 20 of the 26 IDB member borrowers have promoted such initiatives and distributed nearly 10 million laptops in public schools throughout the region. The key question that has arrived is, how can we design and implement effective technology to improve learning or children's learning? Schools, however, not only provide children with a space to learn. For many children, school is also a safe place where they can play with their friends, in some cases access health care, and receive meals. And Jeffrey promised last term to upgrade the school meals program, my Straight Dog family, which was introduced in schools over 40 years ago, in 1982 to be exact. And he promised to upgrade the school feeding program.
We will deliver an upgrade to the school meals program. Matter of fact, there are 2 applications of certified chefs that we are going to interview, that we are going to find the finances to put them there, and as we get along, you'll hear more about the plans for up there.
And my Straight Talk family, thousands of students were, however, left to starve on Monday, when meals were either not delivered or delivered hours late. Carla Berridge of ZIZ Television filed this report a few days ago.
The Ministry of Education has apologized for the delay in delivering school meals on Monday and is actively engaged in resolving the matter. According to a statement, the delay was primarily attributed to ongoing cosmetic enhancements taking place at the facility. Minister of Education, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, has assured that the issue will be promptly resolved. He stated, quote, "In the upcoming days, the ministry will make the necessary adjustments to ensure timely lunch deliveries. We're deeply clear about the well-being of our students, and we remain committed to aiding those in need and express our gratitude to those affected for their patience." End quote. The School Meals Initiative, launched in 1982 by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, provides meals for all primary school students and those in high school who require assistance. This program has been extended to include some private schools.
My Straight Talk family, on the school's Facebook page, principal of the Charles E. Mills High School warned parents to prepare for unfortunate circumstances that occurred last year and now early in this term. The principal wrote this on the school's Facebook page, and you can read it on the screen. My Straight Talk family. To parents, she wrote, "We have seen many unfortunate circumstances during the past academic year and now early in this term. For those who rely on the school meals and the school bus, kindly ensure that your child or ward has at least $5 per day in case of an emergency. No child should be left hungry if the school meals program has an issue, and no child should be left stranded if the school bus is not functional. Thank you for your cooperation." And this was signed by Mrs. Isha Jackson, the principal of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School. You understand, she was chastised by the minister and permanent secretary. For what? I don't know. She's forewarning parents who wouldn't want their children to be hungry or to be stranded. But my Straight Talk family, in conclusion, I want to state that education and health, my Straight Talk family, are the two most important characteristics of human capital. Their economic value lies in the effects they have on productivity. Both education and health make individuals more productive. Education and health have a considerable impact on individual well-being as well. The World Bank's Human Capital Index reminds us that investments in health and education across the first 8,000 days of a person's life will help countries address their most pressing development challenges. Our young people are endlessly tested. Mental health issues are skyrocketing. The attainment gap is widening. A high percentage of students fail CXC Maths and English every year, and very few acquire the powerful knowledge, skills, and understanding we need to change the world for the better. Yet more than ever, as the economy under this new Labour administration becomes more unpredictable, every young person deserves a broad, engaging education which sets them up for whatever the future holds. And sadly, despite all the talk we hear from this new crop of political leaders about raising standards, my Straight Talk family, are actually falling. So my prayer tonight is quite simple. And I invite you, my Straight Talk family, to pray with me. Lord, help us to rescue our health and education systems in St. Kitts and Nevis. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I will open the lines at this time, my Straight Talk family. It's 9:01. I'll entertain your calls and your emails. And I always like to implore you, before I open those lines, which I'll do in a few seconds, my Straight Talk family, respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and or doing those things, let us, my Straight Talk family, strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. At 9:01 hour, let's go to the lines and say good night to this caller. Hello, caller.
Good night. Lord, help me to rescue St.
Yes. Yes. That's our prayer. That's our prayer for tonight.
No, Mr. Libert, I am your caller from the time you on. See how long I'm calling from 9:20 the last time. When you take my call, I did not like what you say because you know I can't hear you and you put me on hold. Mm-hmm. When the puppy show was talking, what he wanted to know if you're going back or not. When he don't say all what he want to say, you want bring your tongue to what it is and bawling now, nothing doing. Best Prime Minister, you too bring think it's to what it is. Trouble in the camp, prepare. Was to give 1,005, take back 5, now giving children 250. No ideas. They want to keep people poor. They could cut him off. He will bounce back. What about the people's land and houses? And I'm going to stop so at Wellington Road. The peso there and the treasury, a whole year gone. And nothing yet the cheaters them doing. The pastor organized a church service and did not go. What a shame. Have a good night.
Have a good night, my street dog family. Sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, but please, when I come on, don't tell me your time going. It's when you just answer people. And laughing, you laughing, me laughing.
Alice.
What happened to the people, them house and land mine? M-I-N-E, mine. People ain't gonna take things, so you know, see you. Good night.
Good night, my straight dog family. Again, yes.
From the cheaters, them.
Yes.
See you.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to the lines. I want to thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hot up in the name of our great African ancestors, especially Queen Nzinga and King Garvey. Blessed evening, my beloved African brother. What's up?
Peaceful, my brother. Blessed evening to you and yours. Hope all is well with you and your family.
Yes, man, all is well, but all is not well with our people and the African continent and some places in the diaspora, especially in Liamiga and Owali. Now, beloved brother, was listening last week when Dr. Harris was on, not last week, Monday, sorry.
Yeah, Monday.
And it was so good to hear that Dr. Harris debunked the BS that this cabal led by the boy from Monkey Hill. But, brother, you know what they try to do? Sabotage you. But, brother, you can kill the revolutionary, but you cannot kill the revolution.
True.
You can kill the messenger, but you cannot kill the messages that the messengers are bringing, the truthful messages. Truth will always prevail. Whether it is crushed to the ground, it will rise again, my beloved brother. Brother, I don't know, man. This evil empire by the boy from Monkey Hill, they're just going in reverse. Fast. Going in reverse. You mean all the great gains that the Team Unity administration, led by Dr. Harris, best Prime Minister, St. Liamiga and Owali have, and that will be for a long time to come. I know Dr. Harris is going to be Prime Minister someday, soon again, beloved brother, because situation now, you're going to get it. It must be general election in less than 3 years down the line. And the people are going to wake up and see this is not what they think. But you see, brother, when you see people promise you pie in the sky, Don't be duped. Don't go for it. What? This is 7 years of great prosperity. And this is the garbage that our people voted for? Come on. It's so sad, beloved. So sad, so sad. But hope our people, especially our young people, wake up, and wake up now, and stand up. Don't be afraid of anyone, any group of people. Speak your mind and speak the truth, regardless what the consequence. Our consequences are. Cannot be afraid in these modern times. Our ancestors didn't be afraid, and they paid the ultimate prices. But sometimes people got to die in order for their children, grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren to live a liberated life that our ancestors gave up. And now, just going back on everything, thing that our ancestors fought for, like we're going in reverse. That can't be happening, brother. Can't and should not be happening. Young people, particular, wake up. Anywhere there is injustice in the Federation of Liamiga and Owari, stand up, man. Stand up. Demonstrate against it. Demonstrate and make sure. I don't care who is there. Make sure they change, beloved. Beloved, I know someone else wants to speak. So continue to listen. Keep up the great works. Pan-Africanism our purpose. One love, my beloved brother.
I love my brother. Always good to hear you, my dear brother. Let's go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Carter. Good night.
Good night. Sounds like the Bible man. How about thou tonight, sir?
Oh, wonderful. And God is good.
All the time.
Now, Mr. Patel, I am telling you, my mind was on this passage of scripture. It revealed to me in Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7. And every time I move around, I watch it on the phone, and I heard, and I see things happen. The word of God said, watch how a man sow it, he shall also reap. Mr. Patrick, there is no middle ground in this. The word of God ain't lie. You cannot plant potato vine and expect to get yam. And anybody believe to themselves that they could sow wild oats and get back good oats, they lie. Mr. Potato, we are our brother's keeper. And whatever we do one another, we ain't doing it to them, you know. We're doing it to ourselves. Mm-hmm. I am going to tell you that Haman built a gallows for Mordecai. And the same gallows that Haman built, and the same gallows Haman began. And Mr. Patrick, this I am telling you, 118 Psalms, that the stone that the builder refused become the head cornerstone. He said, This is the Lord doing marvels in his sight. So what the word of God is saying tonight, brothers and sisters, do the right thing. Because whatever you sow, you are going to reap.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, Mr. Patrick.
Good night.
Have a pleasant night, Mr. Patrick. And may the good Lord bless you and keep you. Amen.
Amen. I wish you the same as well, the Bible man. Patches, as a police officer, reads this email. I want to make a public confession now to all Rastafarians and all marijuana users in the Federation, whom I have arrested and charged for being found in possession of marijuana and had served prison sentences, and those who have fined heavy sums of money by the courts as well. Please, please all forgive me. I am profoundly sorry. It was nothing out of malice or ill will to you. I was just simply doing my job within the parameters of the law. You may ask why I am sorry now. Yes, I am, because the Prime Minister gave the impression in the Parliament that the police and law enforcement officers were wrong to be searching people's home and backyards for marijuana. First, many of us ignored the unwarranted, spurious, and fallacious statement coming from one who does not know any better. But when I saw the Prime Minister kissing up, smelling up, and sniffing up marijuana trees in St. Vincent, coupled with his appointed marijuana director posing between two uniformed police officers in Antigua, smoking his marijuana, I could only conclude, Patches, that as bright as these people claim to be, one thing they are lacking is common sense. They are so bright, educated, boasting, but very stupid, reads this email. This other email reads, my straight dog family, Dr. Harris, I want you to address two matters for me. During the last election season, the dishonorable and disgraceful Mark Brantley was touting that you envy him because he can give better speeches than you. He then preferred an example where he made a speech somewhere at a forum, and it was so captivating with overwhelming praise and punctuated with loud applause. He further said that you, Timothy Harris, was jealous that you approached the organizers of the event and told them why they did not call on you instead to make the speech. Beg your pardon. First, I must say I don't believe anything that's of that sort happened. It sounds so stupid, childish, and immature that from day one, my straight dog family, I discounted the rubbish, Mark, selfish, self-serving utterances. He is full of himself and has this false belief that he is the brightest politician in the Federation. The other one to do with an address at the UN. He said he was to address the UN, and you, Dr. Harris, preempted him and made the address. But he was not the head of government, and that special meeting was for prime ministers, presidents, and other leaders of government. It was not for premiers, and Mark knew better, but he allowed a certain berserk individual on radio day and night, tarnishing your good name with lies, falsehoods, and political propaganda to get you out of office. So, Dr. Harris, if time permits, could you shed some light on those two matters? I think perhaps that was for that probe and go on, my straight dog family. Let's go back to the lines. I thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. It's 16 past 9.
Good night. Good night, Brother Patches.
Good night, my brother. How about thou?
I am humble and peaceful. I have a question, and I would like you to interact and answer to me. You know, when it comes around election, every politician who are in the arena, they like to win. Now, do you think by passing money for their vote is ethical and law-abiding? Also, would you consider that domestic treason if a politician offers money for vote and the voter accepts the money? Do you think that is ethical? And sources have said they receive money for vote. Both opposition and existing government. And I call that, and I send that to condemnation. People have to make up their mind to make their vote without any kind of influence material. Money, which is their number one exchange. I will leave that there. I will come again because I have another question. But can you answer me? Because I don't want to hear myself. Thank you.
Straight Talk family, thank you. But I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know the legislation relating to that. But it sounds like bribery. I've always heard this talk about bribery. I don't know the exact legislation that speaks to that. But if you're going to buy votes or pay people to vote, sounds like you are bribing them. That's my only humble response to that question. When the Labour Party came in power in 2022, reads this email. The Prime Minister and the Attorney General came in as alarmists and scaremongers, behaving like some overjoyed happy puppies, barking and touting that $20 million was missing from Development Bank, and simultaneously ascribing the so-called missing money to Dr. Harris and Team Unity. The intemperate outburst on radio had the country on edge, wondering what next. As we walked with abated breath to hear from the Team Unity, as we waited with abated breath to hear from Team Unity. Well, Dr. Harris' recent press conference has really set the record straight for neither Jew nor the Attorney General, who had scornfully labeled Prime Minister Harris as a dishonest man, are themselves dishonest and untrustworthy. They are a wicked gang of shameless officials, reads this other email. It's 9:26. If you have just joined me, my Straight Talk family, you are listening to Straight Talk if you're a first timer. And Straight Talk is a public service program heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 in the PM until 10 o'clock. We normally have a thesis as well for each program. And the thesis we titled tonight was, Lord help us to rescue our health and education systems. And my Straight Talk family, we looked at the education system and the health system, and both are in disarray. We looked at what's happening at the hospital, and it is serious. It is really, really serious when you've heard from a doctor speaking about these deaths at the hospital. And then information that has come to us, my Straight Talk family, information that has come to us reveals that just a few days ago, a newborn baby and an aged woman died. And there's an investigation going on. So we have to pray for, or pray to the Lord to rescue our health and our education system. Let's go to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding. You're live.
Good evening, Patrice.
Good evening, my brother. Culture, how about that?
Oh, that is great, man. That is great.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about the heat, because we're doing something in the volcano to cool down the whole Leeward Islands, okay?
The volcano going? How's the volcano doing?
Well, I tell it, behave itself.
Okay.
Behave itself. Relax and go sleep. We don't want no heat, no more heat on this.
Okay, I haven't heard from my brother in Munstrat for some time. Let's hope he's all right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
First of all, let me tell you the name of this government. GAG. GAG. That is gone away government. Every time you wake up, you could hear somebody say, they gone away again. Another one gone away again. So that is all they're doing, Patrick. That is all they take the people vote for to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been said all the time that, you know, if somebody is feeding you for a whole week, whether they're giving you rice and salt, whatsoever it is, a small rice and sprat, that is all they could afford, but at least they're vitalizing your body. And then one person gonna come now with all kind of steak and lobster for one day. And to get you refuse to eat the food what you're getting every day. That person will be a fool. You show up the food for 7 days a week. But look when they bring the lobster and everything for you. In the middle of the week. So what happened to the days before, the middle, and the days after? That is what happened with the politics. People were getting good treatment. They get a house roof fixed. And they were getting $500 whenever it is. And they were able to do a lot of things that needed to be done with any kind of money rather than wasting it. And they stop there and they like, pretty money, more money fool them. Now all of them balling. Well, you learn from your own mistake and other people's mistake. Everything, let me go here, everything that Team Unity started was great. And it was fruitful for the country. And that Taliban from Monkey Hill, before he come, what he is, I heard him said on another radio station, someone tell him, why don't you sit down with the Prime Minister Harris and you all discuss the future to carry the country good. And these were his words. I have nothing to do with Harris. I have nothing to do with Harris. I say, what? That kind of disrespect? You're not the Prime Minister, you're going to be the Prime Minister, and that's what you're going to say? Where do we expect any opposition to want to have anything to say with him? Now look at it. We had a problem. We had a program in the week every Wednesday organized by the Team Unity government called Working for You. He said don't want to have anything to do with Dr. Harris and the progress that you all had made, all the ministers in Dr. Harris, except the hypocrite in Nevis. He don't want to have nothing to do with it. He changed the program from Working for You to something in view. Yeah, something in view. Well, something really is in view. Because his lies are in view. And his wickedness, what he doing to people who turning them and they haven't broke any law. Those are in view. And then the things like going in, they're going to say, boy, he's going to build smart hospital. And nothing is wrong with the hospital. The hospital is the service that you get from the people who work in the building. And hospital come from the word hospitality. So when he's talking about he's going to build smart hospital, that man is so vindictive and hatred that he can't only go talk about cleaning off ground by hospital. And when he going to clean off, there is a water line that run from Wingfield come up there. And his hospital will be going above the line. So what can happen there when any waste come from the hospital? But you see, when someone break the law, who's supposed to enforce the law and uphold the law, and they're going to break the law consciously and get a job to be special advisor to that boy from Monkey Hill, what do we expect? What do we expect? Anybody who do bad cannot advise somebody to do good, because bad is a trade and they cannot run from that. I got one more thing to come back with a lot of money that people get out of St. Kitts. So when they're talking about things and calling you name and Harris name and our kind of name, I'm coming back with a one day, man. Let it take them out of the oil first. Patches, I'll be back. Thank you so long.
Thanks for your intervention, my dear brother. It's 9:27, my Straight Dog family. Mr. Azad Gums reads this email. I'll try to dispose of the emails. I hate to be chatting you like this, but I have no other alternative. I was one who endorsed your prospective candidacy when I was unofficially informed that you are or will be the candidate to succeed Mr. Grant in number 4. I was a rabid and fanatic political supporter of Mr. Grant for years, but got subdued and lost momentum in 2022 and protested vehemently and did not vote because Grant foolishly allowed Mark Brantley to trick, deceive, and mislead him to succor and facilitate the destruction of Team Unity. However, back to you, Azad. On Tuesday, on your Island Tea program, you gave your perspective on the new Bastia High School project that Team Unity had already commenced work to construct the school. Was impressed with your sentiments, but obviously Dwyer Astafan was against what you said, and so it necessitated him to call in with his subjective reaction and severely reprimanded you publicly on Win FM. The problem I had with you, Azad, is that you allowed Dwyer to persevere you with until he virtually had you subjugated. It seems as if you were crying to Dwyer saying, "No, Mr. Astafan, I did not say anything like that. I was just referring to what someone had said. It was not coming from me, Mr. Astafan. I have my own views about the school. You think Dwyer, with his foulness, could have dealt with Sean that way? You have to be mad. If that is the way you are behaving, Azad, then Grant need to stay. You have to be steadfast, vociferous, immovable, aggressive, and strident, Azad, as an upcoming politician. And don't be like Dwyer and others who are unstable and inconsistent with their point of views." Read that email. The appearance of Dr. Harris as a guest on Straight Talk last Monday was an excellent one. He gave the facts and spoke the truth in light of the false information Dr. Jew and some of his supporters have fabricated and spreading. Their version of events surrounding Social Security, national and development banks, initially believed by a few misguided individuals, was widely believed as now being debunked. Thank you, Dr. Harris. Thank you, Patches. And hooray for Straight Talk reads this other email. I read in amazement, this other email reads, an invitation to persons overseas to contribute and ship new or used clothing to a certain address in Miami for onward shipment to St. Kitts for the purpose of outfitting seniors to attend a ball sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development. Are you guys really serious about this? Are you expecting the same seniors who have been removed from the PAP to attend with any sense of joy or satisfaction in their hearts? Perhaps some will. What if you're being asked or questioned about the rationale for removing them from PAP? What would your answer be? Are we Are they expected to receive smirky faces and broad back answers? Or would there be any answers provided for these questions? You guys are the servants of the people and not high horseback riding masters. The time has long come and gone for the old knock to old drum, dish out to drink a rum, and a bag of parched nuts, tactics, especially to our senior citizens. My God, we have long passed that stage, reads this email. Let us, this other email reads, words to be sung. What's that? Bam 40, bam 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 day, I bell. 40 to 50 years ago, building near the aquifer would have been a big no-no. But today you have a modern technology. You could get rid of your sewage and waste quite safely. So right now you could build here. You could build over there. You could build practically anywhere. Those who disagree, tell them the new rule. Go ahead and build your Bastia High School. Bam, bam, balam, 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 bale. That's reads the email in song. Patches, Dr. Harris ably explained the issue in regards to the nurses who drew on his own accord, disregarding the law on the matter and promoting some nurses as registered nurses. If, therefore, Dr. Drew went against the law, what is the position of the medical advisor, Dr. Martin? Did he advise Dr. Drew, or as usual, he was just a yes man to protect his job? What a disgrace, reads this email. Good evening, Patches. Why is Sam Conda back on the government payroll after being a minister and parliamentarian for over 20 years? Sam was the longest serving minister responsible for Social Security and Labor and did absolutely nothing to improve these two important programs. But now believe he has all the answers. Sam, who is now in his 70s, is now appointed as the chairman of the Minimum Wage Committee and parading on all the radio stations as an expert on minimum wages. Sam Conda's corrupt actions while in government should disqualify him for the position, especially at his age. Connor is also seen regularly in and out of Social Security doors after not bringing to reality the reform that was so badly needed back then. The unity government saved the Social Security fund after Sam and Labour almost destroyed it, reads this email. And again, my Straight Talk family, it's 9:34, 26 before the 10 o'clock hour. If you have just joined me, you are logged on to Straight Talk. If it's the first time you have joined me, then it's Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 in the PM to 10 in the PM. We are looking at our thesis for tonight, which I've titled, Lord Help Us to Rescue Our Health and Education Systems, my Straight Talk family. And we advance the view that health is paramount or of paramount interest in every aspect of our lives, my Straight Talk family. It is the foundation for individual well-being, societal progress, and economic development, while education plays an important role in our country's development. I alluded to a quotation from the late Nelson Mandela, who said, and I quote, "Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world." Let's take this call. I'll get back to that, my Straight Talk family. It's 9:36. Caller, you live.
Yes, Patrice. I promised the listeners I was coming back, and I'm back. The word that I could not remember, that it changed from working for you, the word is in focus. Well, it's really in focus because the amount of money that the that the team unity government already spent as a preparation for the new high school, that is in focus. And the golf course, the 18-hole golf course down La Valley, which a man from Barbados get something from here and he gone back Barbados. I don't want to get the green tin in clean. Well, that is in focus. So we want to know if that kind of thing what the man get and gone back Barbados with, if nobody gonna do anything about that. Because after the man get that thing and gone back from Barbados, that's why Bede do the same trick on the oil in Nevis with the water. And he got more things there that people coming for. See Bede come back again to get more money. So all those things are in focus. And the 15 new dialysis machine that he said he procured from Canada, and then later on talking about the same dialysis, the 15 new dialysis, he said of the vast majority of them are working. That is in focus, the big idea. Now, in the Bible says, do not put new wine in old bottles. How in this world that Taliban boy gonna go and bring down those expired, poisonous, contaminated with all kind of blood in them, and because of the winter, couldn't bring them down. So he got to leave them, put them in a warm place, and put them somewhere till the place get warm. Well, if they were new brand, as you said earlier, why he couldn't bring them down? Because what? If he like the weather would activate the contamination in them. That is a big lie again in focus. Now the dialysis, everyone will be glad that the dialysis could be cheap and nothing if they could afford it. But why should he say that he take it from 400 to 200? Because he know the machine them ain't no good and they ain't gonna last so long. And they could cause people to get sick. So he make it cheap that people could go and they ain't gonna study the old age and the machine them. All of that there is in focus. But let me tell that man there in that position of leadership in this country, you better stop doing this country where you're doing it. Stop it. You willfully, deliberately doing things to see if you could exploit anybody who support Team Unity, PLP or PAM. That is your intention. And look below the old soldiers who back in limbo back, bend over forward, don't retire. You take them back again and pay them big salary. Big salary. Some of them got 2 jobs. And people just come out of school. All kind of school. No work there. No work for the young people them to do. And you criticize Team Unity when they were in there saying that they take back people who done 70. What you do now? You doing worse than Caroline and Josephine. Eh? They're making more, not now only 70, but 80. All kind of big numbers of people they're in there. Some of them can't even bend the back to pick up the shoes if you drop off, and you got them, they're paying them big money. Eh? Wasting the money, and then you say when you went in there, the country was in red. Well, if the country in red, where you find money from to take back all of them neighbors and pay them? That is in focus. And the last thing, Patches, people really do go away to get doctorate in many subjects. But for Jeffrey Hanley, nobody could tell you which college he went to get a PhD. Well, they don't have to worry. Because anytime you open your eye in the morning, anybody open your eye, they're supposed to get the PhD. Praise him daily. That's where we get PhD from. Praise him daily. So he can't say where he went to get that. But he happened right there upon the pillar. Passes, you have a good night. Keep looking back. They're trying from all angles on this out here to say they could shut down your mouth. But they can't stop it. Because anyhow anything happen, somebody out there looking out for the innocent. And the person who have a kind heart to help people. So they cannot stop you. So let us try all the mama going and shit me jig and the stamping and the tricks. Let go ahead. You have a good night, and good night everybody who listens to Straight Talk.
Good night, my brother. Thanks as always for your intervention, for your support. Good evening. Ambassador reads this email. Hope you're keeping cool despite the heat and remaining peaceful and vigilant. After school being on recess for at least 8 weeks, why were children unable to have their school meals on Monday? The poor excuse of ongoing cosmetic enhancements taking place at the facility is very poor. The ministry dropped the ball. They need to step up to the plate and be serious about the well-being of the children, reads this email. This other email reads, if it is true that there is $20 million missing from Development Bank, then the so-called Minister of Corruption, Attorney General, must bring charges, or else it is just bluster and political grandstanding. The Prime Minister should stop being a coward and say it outside of Parliament, which gives him immunity. I must inform your listeners of libel and slander by innuendo. Read this email. Yes, he does say that in Parliament, and he's under the cloak of immunity. And yes, you're right, emailer. If he is a man and he's talking the truth, do like I do on Straight Talk. Just talk the truth. Do not vanish the truth. Let the people know what's going on. Once it is truthful, then you need not worry. At 17 before the 10 o'clock hour, my Straight Talk family, we are on the uphill side of 10 o'clock. And again, for the first timers, Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. Our thesis for tonight, we titled, Lord help us to rescue our health and education systems. Because our health situation is terrible. Terrible under this new Jew Labour administration. And I've always posited the view, I've always advanced the view that no doctor would ever make a good minister of health. We proved that when Asim Martin was appointed Minister of Health and served for 10 years. And our health situation at the hospitals and generally just went downhill. And Asim, no doubt, can be named the worst health minister we've ever had in this country. He's the second Minister of Health who is a doctor, Dr. Jew. And ask ourselves, our health situation and our systems are just not working under Dr. Jew. How is it that we've had this just sudden turnaround in our health situation here, in upside down situation? Terrible situation. We ask ourselves, how come? Our hospital was running well for years. Is it because we've lost our medical chief of staff, Dr. Wilkinson? What has gone wrong? Is a question we ask ourselves. The situation in health in St. Kitts is so bad. It is so dire at the JN France General Hospital that a doctor, a doctor who emanated from the bowels of labor, the bowels of the Labour Party, literally broke ranks with the Labour Party and posted on her Facebook page a damning indictment against Jew and his entire administration. That doctor mixed no words when she wrote this on her Facebook page, My Straightforward Family. She wrote this. Why do physicians, she asks, in St. Kitts who lose sight of why they choose this profession? We are humans. We are not perfect, but we have to aim for the greatest outcome for our people. Nowhere in the world are doctors always right, but my God, try your best. And here is the indictment. Patients are dying in droves at JNF. That's what Dr. Melissa Cable wrote. Patients are dying in droves at JNF. Patients are dying in droves, wrote Dr. Melissa Cable. But while a large number of patients are dying at the Joseph N. France General Hospital, Straight Talk has confirmed that a few days ago, a newborn baby and a middle-aged woman died under some mysterious circumstances. And undercover, it is being investigated by newly appointed Medical Chief of Staff for Institutional-Based Health Services, Dr. David Wilkin, who commenced duties on August the 20th, 2023. Straight Talk will keep you posted on these serious issues, my Straight Talk family. But the buck must stop with Dr. Terence Michael Drew, the Prime Minister and Minister of Health, who ought to have general control and management of the Ministry of Health. But sad to note, the quality of care at the JN France General Hospital and across St. Kitts, and I speak for St. Kitts, it continues to deteriorate, and we can only ask the Lord to help us to rescue the health system. My Straight Talk family, as we wind down tonight's program, education, on the other hand, has moved to a different beat, a different rhythm. Because gains in the education sector over the 7 years of the Team Unity administration have been incrementally lost since the advent of the Jew Labour administration. But I ask the question, my Straight Talk family, I ask the question, what can we expect? What can be expected, my Straight Talk family, is a fair question, because the Minister of Education is a self-confessed slow student, my Straight Talk family.
Look at me, comrades. I told you how I started off as a slow student. I went to 1A4, 2A4, 3G7, 4G6, 5th form, 5G6. And guess what? I repeated. So I was in school for quite a while. But look at me today. Bachelor's in psychology with a minor in social work. Masters of Education. Another master's degree in political and organizational psychology. And I would have been in a program for quite a while, since 2005, I'm not ashamed. And in 2016, I was offered the opportunity of getting a PhD.
And my Straight Talk family offered the opportunity of getting a PhD because so miraculous was his transformation, or the transformation of Jeffrey Hanley. After such a dismal performance at his foundation level, we go through 3 stages in our education. Our elementary or primary level or primary stage, if you want to call it that. Our secondary stage and our tertiary level. But after this dismal performance at this foundation level that continued or rather worsened at this secondary level, this miraculous transformation in a man who now boasts of having more degrees than a thermometer, 2 bachelors, 2 masters, and a PhD from a university he never attended. We've challenged him to tell us which university he attended and gained his PhD. We've asked that question so many times, but to no avail. It's 9:54. Caller, you live.
Hello, Mr. Libert. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Pretty good. Yeah, man. I wanted to ask you a question, man. That list you brought out, it was last week, with the number of advisors and stuff like that to this current government.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like the number of persons they got on that list, right? Is that like a legal number? Like, I know you was ambassador at one. I mean, can you tell us, like, you know, can you educate us, man? Let us know if there's a specific amount of advisors, you know, that's allowed by the Constitution.
Well, not by the Constitution, but I'm aware that the budget estimates provide for a certain amount of ambassadors.
Can you let us know that certain amount? Can you let us know what that certain amount is?
Well, if I recall, under the Office of the Prime Minister, I think they're just 2 special advisors. I stand to be corrected. I don't have the estimates to hand now, right? But there are also ambassadors that are provided for in the estimates, like the ambassadors at the UN, at Washington, at the High Commission in London, the CARICOM ambassador. All these are listed, but it doesn't stop Dr. Drew, it seems, to hire out these lots of ambassadors and special advisors outside of the budget or approve parliamentary expenditure, which is the budget estimates. You will recognize that estimates have to go to Parliament and approved by Parliament. But he does have an extraordinary or inordinate, I think is the right word, amount of ambassadors and special advisors. Seems as if when he wakes up this morning, he just hires somebody as a special advisor. But he has quite a lot of special advisors. And that's the personnel. Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and he's very secretive about it as well. Very secretive about it. He does not release information, and he talks so much about transparency.
So all of these persons they're like on a payroll and getting paid, right?
Yeah, they are paid. They are paid.
So this that payroll for those amount of people is probably. I mean, can't you get
the figures in terms of, you know, how much money is allocated to all these people, how much, what the salaries are, whatever? In a total of all these people who's on that list you had.
We will get it eventually, because it has the actuals that would have to be dealt with in terms of the estimates, albeit they come a year after.
And that's public knowledge, ain't it? That's public knowledge, right?
Yes, but the thing about it that you will find that information for 2023, for example, we won't get that until 2025 in terms of the actuals.
Oh wow!
You know, unless the director
that's lagging behind.
Well, that's me. Well, I hope you're not an accountant. That's why these accountants drive the car in the rearview mirror. You know, they tell you what was
but
done.
You know, I'm making my own personal observations, man. You know, what I'm seeing, man. I'm seeing, you know, a lot of politicians, a lot of persons are being recycled, man. You know what I mean? A couple of things that I don't like, you know. Yeah, we as far as I see, the young people in St. Kitts and Nevis, they got to step it up, man. They got to step it up, and they got to get involved, you know. And another group of people that I see that has to get involved is the Rasta. You know, they're looking and they wanting a lot of stuff, but they're not participating in the political system there. You know, they need to get more involved. You know what I mean? If they don't have no representation, they would get left behind. You know what I mean? But me, I want to see the young people them step up, because we need more young leaders, man. You know, I'm seeing a lot of old people that's still hanging around. You know, a lot of people is on that list. They appear to me like they're just hangers on, getting a paycheck. You know what I mean? A lot of politicians who have, you know, lost their seats and stuff like that, they're still hanging around, man. For me, there's a couple things that I don't like. One thing is the fact that I'm not sure in St. Kitts and Nevis, if they have a foreign passport, they cannot come back and contribute to their own society. You know, and I need to get that changed, man, so I could come home and participate myself. And, you know, the oldsters, them who already done being in public service for like 20 years and stuff like that, they need to move aside, man. I think they need to put a cap on the amount of years somebody can participate in public service, in politics, so we can and have the term limitation for prime minister, and also maybe term limitation for parliamentarians, so we can have evolution in our system. You know what I mean? We need to have these intangibles put in place. A lot of the intangibles that they talk about during the campaign, you know, some of them is not being tabled in Parliament. And that fair share between St. Kitts and Nevis, we need to get that in concrete, so that no matter who politicians is in, on both ends, they don't have to be quarreling over that stuff at all, man. You know what I mean? We need to get those things in concrete. You know, we're not hearing anything from fair share from the Premier, especially on that side. And we don't know what's going on between the Nevis NIA and the federal government at this point. You know, that situation has gone dormant now. And that's not really that good. But you know, it just seems like all of these issues are just political footballs.
But Carla, you'd agree that the President Constitution speaks to allocation of revenue. And this what they call nonsense about CBI revenue is non-tax revenue. It's just nonsense, because the Constitution speaks to revenue. I mean, yes, it says non-tax revenue, but revenue is revenue. They're only economic classifications. So all you have to do is pull the revenue and sort it out. I mean, that's
all we need. I mean, to me, we should get that done when there's you know, cooperation between Bastia and Nevis. We should not wait we should not wait until when the situation is hostile. You know, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I got you.
If the NIA is getting along with the federal administration, which it seems like they are right now, I don't know if that's why they're so quiet, but when we have the communication and cooperation from both ends, is when this stuff should be put into place. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, it was a talking point with the recent election, the last election, federal election, and then now we don't hear nothing about it. So where is the transparency with all this stuff? I don't know. But I want to see the young people in the Federation step up, man, and start pushing some of these oldsters aside. All right, man, that's my contribution, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well, my brother. Thanks for your contribution. Always thought-provocative contributions coming from you, but to the point as well. And as I said, I will stand by my position that revenue is revenue. Non-tax or tax revenue are only economic classifications in the budget. So to hide behind CBI revenue and this revenue is really a nonsense. But as we wind down, my Street Talk family, I'll perhaps take one more call, but can you please shed some light on the matter if you can? Read this email. If there are no pipes on island to do tests on the well in Keon, how do we know how much water can be pumped from the well per day? How is it calculated? That's a very good question, my Street Talk family, and I won't attempt to answer that question because I don't have that expertise to tell you if there are no pipes, how do we get to how the question was, how much water can be pumped from the well? How do you know how much water can be pumped from the well? I heard, just by the way, that the Prime Minister said there are no pipes on the island, but the wells are capped, and I don't think we should listen to the Prime Minister. I would expect that the water engineer and manager, Cromwell William, who is an hydrogeologist, as I said, he ought to know. And unless I hear him pronounce on the well, I would never believe anything that Dr. Joe says, as you can never follow Dr. Joe. But as we wrap tonight's program in my Street Talk family, as we intimated earlier, our thesis for tonight was entitled, Lord, Rescue. Lord, help us rather to rescue our health and education systems. And we looked tonight at our deteriorating health system under the current Minister of Health, who is in fact the Prime Minister. And we opined as well from the onset that our health is our wealth. I will take and make this my final call, but caller, I will want to guide you by the rules of brevity. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
So,
I am so glad that I get this opportunity again. And as I listened to the last caller before me, he is right. Too much repeatedly recycled politicians. And I don't know what's wrong with the people of St. Kitts. Instead of having recycled politicians, which is flip-flop, Labour PAM, PLP, CCM, I'm going to leave NRP alone. But these politicians are just continue the rhetoric and the bullshit. And don't take my conjunction for any derogatory, because I'm not going to use any derogatory. I respect your show, Patches. But they are all coming with bullshit. And how many times are these people going to be taking bullshit from these people? You need a political revolution. You need new parties, new state to jump in the arena and state their claim, because they still end up will go in the corner and grumble and murmur when you are doing the same old, same old.
But caller, can I ask you a question now?
Yes.
I take your point in terms of getting young politicians, but you'll consider Dr. Joe a young politician?
Well, I didn't use the word young politician, but yeah, Dr. Drew is a young man who...
Yes, but look at his performance. Do you consider his performance as one ready for the job?
I condemn his performance.
Yeah, because it's not just about youth. What about the experience? What about maturity? You just can't have one criterion and say, well, you want youth, but they have to make the team.
I am not going to go by age. I am going by experience, and a man with dynamic thinking, a dynamic dreamer who can foresee the future and try to manifest that. Okay, so I'm not going to go by age or
because right now you're in the United States, and the two front runners for the presidency are in the 80s, and they're going to rule the world. So where do we go?
Where do we go? Let me tell you, where do we go? We need leaders who will foresee the future for the good of the humans. And the good of the humans are not being put forward. It's just hypocrisy and promises that make people comfort for fools, and they are not delivering what they promised. So we need people who have a vision, and it's worth trying a vision, but not the same old. Not the recycle. The recycle has been, there is no nourishment or substance in the recycled material right now. And the recycled material are those who are ruling, who trying to combat that flip-flop thing. We don't need that. That's why I am convinced I'm going to root for myself. Dignity is the new thing. I'm a new person who come in the arena, and I have new thinking, and I have better thinking, and I am not controlled by money. Money is not going to rule me. I'm not going in for power. I respect human beings, and every human being must have the basic that God gave all of us, but not suppressed by another man that will be dictators or suppressors, so to speak. We need the human dignity to be respected and get rid of the recycle. All of them. Even to the new ones who come in and doing saganakabul, get rid of them. Okay. I am not satisfied with the way the Labour Party is performing. The promise to the people, and they are not delivering, and life is hard on Harris' time. Harris made a lot of mistakes, and I posed a question to him, and he admitted that he made mistakes, but give it to someone else. I could work with Harris, but he can't be Prime Minister. He will have to work under me. I will take his advice and his experience, and I will like to ask him a question. I think so, I need you. I can't leave you. I need you and Harris.
I think we're gonna end it there, my brother. I wish you well in your endeavors, political endeavors. That's the most I can tell you.
I want to end last week. I need to end last week, but we gotta sit down and talk.
Okay, my brother.
Because I have the good stuff. I will learn from you. I will learn from Jimmy.
Okay.
Because he was better than all that was there before.
Okay, Prime Minister-elect, so I want to thank you for your... thank you for your intervention. As you said, dignity. But my Straight Talk family, we got to wrap. My time is done. I got to run. The situation in health is so bad. It's so dire at the JN France General Hospital. There's a doctor, as I said, that emanated from the bowels of the Labour Party, spoke to people dying in droves. Patients are dying in droves, wrote Dr. Melissa Cable. But while a large number of patients are dying at the JNF hospital, we confirm that a few days ago, a newborn baby and a middle-aged woman died under some mysterious, circumstances that are being investigated. Like I said, the buck must stop with Dr. Jew, who ought to have general control and management of the Ministry of Health. But sad to note, the quality of care at the JNF hospital and across St. Kitts continues to deteriorate, and we can only ask the Lord to help us to rescue the health system. Education, on the other hand, has moved to a different rhythm. Gains in the education sector over the last 7 years of the Team Unity administration have been incrementally lost with the advent of the Jew Labour administration. But what else can we expect when the leader in the Ministry of Education is a self-declared slow student? My Straight Talk family, as we wrap tonight's programming, we spoke to schools. Not only do they provide children with space to learn, but for many children, it's also a safe place. And in some cases, they have access to health and receive meals. He promised to upgrade the school meals program, but thousands of students were left to starve on Monday, and meals were not delivered or delivered hours late. My Straight Talk family. When the headmistress of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School wrote on the school's Facebook page, she was chastised for writing this, warning the parents or encouraging the parents to ensure that their child or ward has at least $5 in case of an emergency. No child will be left hungry if the school meals program has an issue, and no child should be left stranded if the school bus is not functional. And she alluded to similar unfortunate circumstances during the past academic year. My Straight Talk family. So, in education as well, there are problems. And education and health are the two most important characteristics of human capital. The economic value lies in the effects they have on productivity. Both education and health make individuals more productive. Education and health have a considerable impact on individuals' well-being as well. Our young people are endlessly tested. Mental health issues are skyrocketing. The attainment gap is widening. Highest percentage of students fail 6C maths and English every year. And very few acquire the power or the powerful knowledge that should be, skills and understanding we need to change the world for the better. Yet more than ever, as the economy under this Jew Labour administration becomes more and more unpredictable, every young person deserves a broad, engaging education which would set them up for whatever the future holds. But sadly, despite all the talk we hear from this new crop of political leaders about raising standards, those standards are actually falling. So my prayer for tonight, I ask you to pray with me in the beginning. And I will therefore invite you, my Straight Talk family, to pray with me in the end. Lord, help us to rescue our health and education systems in St. Kitts and Nevis. That's my story for tonight, and I am not going to change it. My Straight Talk family, I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank all of you who call, those who logged on to our social media pages on YouTube and on Facebook. Remember, all of you as well who send emails, remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Libel, and God's will, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. Go to church, do your chores for the weekend. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Until we connect on Monday, bye-bye. And have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Keep moving on.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep